welcome back to Mortals and Portals, a Pathfinder real play podcast. I'm your host and GM, Zach, and joining me at the table is...
Adam, and I play Jules, an Azurketi Bard.
I'm Joel, and I play Dax, a Kobold Rogue.
Ryan, I am Tough, an Automaton Inventor.
Taryn, and I play Waltz, a Human Champion.
Dang, I can tell you guys are fired up right now with these...
We are
let's
so
go.
fired
So
up.
excited.
Let's
I
do
wonder
this.
why.
We are fired up.
Hey, last time on Mortals and Portals, the party made their plan. They had some breakfast, some coffee, met up with some people from Karos, started hashing out what they're going to do. They went through all this loot that they got in this super awesome supply crate of the GM realizing he hasn't given them any items and dumping them on them all at once, really, is what that is.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, they have a plan. We don't really know what it is, per se, because they leaned in and whispered it, so you guys aren't in on that, but I'm sure you'll find out soon enough. And then they went out and fired the flare into the air because they want to attract Scyndor and just fight him at Digsby's orchard. And that's exactly where we ended our session. So that's where we're going to start our session.
That might have been the fastest recap you've ever done since episode 1.
I just want to play, man. I just want to play. I'm excited.
Yep.
So yeah, the four of you just fired the flare into the air. So what do you guys do?
So, how long do you think before Scyndor shows up?
He doesn't have a Drake, and he doesn't know where we are, so I think we've got plenty of time.
What do I see? Do I see a barn or anything around me, Zach?
Yeah, there's a barn that you've noticed when you came in where the horses were, which are being taken out by Ira and all the other soldiers.
Waltz is just going to walk in there and sit down.
I'll follow along and maybe pull out my new sword that, has the new striking rune and everything on it, and just kind of fidget with it, play with it, just kind of take it in while I'm heading to the barn with Waltz.
So, Dax, how did you end up getting the Arcanor?
Well, Waltz, I ended up going through the roof of that building, got a little singe from it, but I think it was about the only way I was going to get in there. And, it wasn't quite what I expected. Ended up being some kind of weird swamp in that building. Lots of weird critters around, but thanks to you, I got out. So, no harm, no foul, right?
Yeah, no, it's kind of weird that out of all the environments to choose to put inside a castle like that, he chose a swamp.
Your guys' conversation kind of carries you into the barn, and you look over your shoulder and see Tough and Jules.
Tough.
Yeah, Jules.
Jules is kind of looking off just in the sky a little bit, just going over everything. And I'll say, Tough, do you think this will work?
It's my plan. Of course it'll work.
I suppose you're right.
Yeah, speaking of, what do you say we take care of step 1 right now?
Jules will notice Dax and Waltz in the barn, and he'll say, looks like they've already started.
Appreciate the proactiveness, but what do you say we get set up first? And I walk over to the table and I set something on it.
Jules will sit down, take out his trident, kind of go over the rune that he just added to it. Maybe toss it up in the air a little bit and see if it comes back.
Yeah, so you raise it over your shoulder, check the weight of it, and then give it a spear-like throw across the barn, and it stabs into one of the posts holding up some of the stables. And then you reach your hand out, and you see the trident start to tremble and rip out of the post and retract back to your hand, and you firmly snap your grip around it.
Whoa, awesome. Can you throw that at Walt so I can practice my healing bullets too?
Maybe later. Boys, I kind of wish Geldy was here to see this. See what smart aleck comment he has now.
Geldir?
We'll tell you about him later.
Yeah, I assume Geldir might be dead by this point. I don't know if I told you guys, but I ended up fighting him to be the leader of the Drake Knights.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
It was kind of crazy. At first, I had to fight this really giant guy named Boric. He was part boar, I think, and part human. He was pretty big. He almost killed me. And, when I finally thought I was all done with the fighting, Geldir just burst through the gates and says, hey, listen, let me take a crack at this guy. And so then I had to fight him. But, we've been through a lot with that guy, so I didn't really want to kill him. But I did break his nose again and then threw him in jail.
There it is.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes. Glad to hear it. Well done, Malt. Man, you must have gone through the gauntlet with that.
Dax, as you're kind of laughing about Geldir and maybe have a bittersweet feeling about him in a way, you're scanning around the barn and you're looking at the device that Tough just set down earlier. But then you notice something next to it, kind of as Waltz and Jules and Tough are talking. start to walk over to it as it catches your eye, and you see a book laying on the same workbench, and you read the title of this book, and it's called Time to Grow, The Life Lessons of an Orchardist
Oh my
by
gosh.
Digsby.
Take it. If you don't, I will.
I'll kind of cock my head at the book, not quite believing what I'm seeing at first, I guess, and then I'll walk up to it and pick it up.
You pick up this book, and you can tell it's handwritten, incomplete. You see a lot of blank pages in the back. Kind of flipping through it, you can see it's a rough draft, a working edit, lots of lines, scribbles through things, but there seems to be a lot of short stories and tales from the life of Digsby and some of his life lessons. And you kind of flip through some of the pages and stop on a story, and you read the first couple lines, and you feel compelled to share it with the group.
Dax will turn around looking to the rest of the group and kind of lift up the book, gesture it at him. Hey guys, Digsby left a book here.
What?
Come check this out.
I'll walk over.
I'm kind of in the middle of something. And Tuff will be kicking some hay over near the entrance.
I'll sit down closer to Dax.
As they gather around, I will start reading.
So as Dax reads this, you all can't help but hear it in Digsby's voice. So you may have heard me say, I've never produced a bad apple, which isn't entirely true. You see, those greedy Drake Knights come by once a month and take a bushel of my apples as some sort of toll, just as they do to my friends in Karos. It's just not right. But what are we to do? To resist? Well, I devised a scheme to produce some bad apples. Not many, of course, for my plan required subtlety. If I placed one bad apple in a perfectly good bushel, then gave it to the Drake Knights, it would spoil the entire bunch, you see. Well, they wouldn't notice at first, not when there's only one rotten apple. Then, when they finally decided to eat from the infested bag, they would perhaps get a stomachache. If enough Drake Knights got this stomachache, then perhaps we could finally overthrow them. Unfortunately, after some minor tummy troubles, they figured out my scheme and they doubled my toll. Still, I'm glad I tried, because you should never stand by and allow such tyranny to be inflicted on good people, not when there's something you can do about it.
I miss him.
Man, he really had a heart of gold, didn't he?
He truly did.
Yeah, I wish he could see us now.
Dax will kind of have a pang in his chest as he thinks about how Digsby, just this elderly orchardist who still had the bravery and the gumption to do what he could against tyranny, I guess, to stop it. And it will remind Dax of back home on Drakis, the dragon Theragoon, who stayed behind and didn't abandon their kobolds. And Dax will kind of get filled with some sort of sense of bravery, a renewed sense of drive to face Scyndor, to face tyranny, as he thinks about the great examples that Digsby and Theragoon and I mean the rest of the crew, Jules and Waltz included.
Dude, hinting at some of that dragon lore from Drakis. More on that later, I'm sure. And this is a bit of a magic item for you guys. Once per day, you can read one of Digsby's tales, and you'll all receive 1d4 temporary hit points.
Let's go, Digsby!
Which is 3 hit points this time.
Thank you, Digsby.
Oh yeah, and you all get hero points.
Nice.
Wow.
All right, and as you guys are talking and just reflecting on this tale from Digsby, given the Drake Knight's tummy troubles, watching Tuff kick some hay on some mysterious item, you hear some thunder rumbling in the distance, and Jules and Tuff, it instantly makes you think of the thunder that rumbled when you flew past Scyndor, emerging from the rubble. And as you look to the sky, you see off in the distance an ominous green glow accompanied by dark clouds heading towards the orchard.
You know, I've been wondering, has anyone seen Benjamin?
Who?
It's kind of hard to explain. I didn't see him. Waltz, did you see him?
No, didn't make his way out. I figured you being by the coast probably had the best chance.
Yeah, wouldn't you have seen him out there?
Last I saw him was in Karos, and he gave us the flare and told us if we came into trouble with Drake Knights, we'd just shoot it up in the air and he'd set off and lure the Drake. Oh
Oh
crap.
no.
We just shot it, didn't
Ah.
we?
Do you think he's gone?
Your friend just took off into the middle of the ocean.
Ah.
Well, maybe he could show up and help us out whenever he gets here.
What's he gonna do? Sail his ship on land?
Hey, listen, I don't know if he has the capabilities to sail out on the sea and he's got a flare gun. Maybe he's got some other tricks.
Walt, I think his point was to leave when we shot the flare, not come to us.
Oh,
Well, he's gonna make it a lot further than he thought.
Hey, maybe if he's lucky, he'll get all the way out of here, and maybe that's not the worst thing.
I suppose that's true.
Man, I don't even know the guy, but that is hilarious.
he's a great. He is a guy.
He's a guy. Indeed.
He is a guy.
He exists.
The dark clouds have now overtaken the orchard, blotting out the sun, and a steep hill that oversees the orchard, clustered with trees. You see emerging from it Scyndor, his body fractured, glowing green energy leaking out of these many cuts, splinters, gashes in his wooden frame. He looks extremely unstable, filled with power. It almost looks like he cannot control or sustain, but he freezes on the hill, scanning the orchard, exhales, and stepping on all sides of his shoulders are the remaining loyal Drake Knights, drawing their swords, readying their bows. Leshies climb out of the trees, same ones you guys fought in your camp when he first appeared. Those pesky gliding Leshies. Also emerging on other sides of him are grotesque giant centipedes, something Dax would assume was lurking in the swampy biome back in Scale Keep. No doubt creatures he's called upon to aid him in his fight. Also emerging giant lizards crawling over fallen trees, rocks slithering next to him. Other grotesque creatures. Scyndor looks to his small army, looks to a very formidable, strong-looking orc Drake Knight, wearing a now lifeless-looking orange scale on his armor. No doubt the captain of Gainmar, the desert region you never went to. He looks at him and says,
Find them.
and he nods and starts to descend the hill, accompanied by some Drake Knights into the orchard.
Tough, did I see you brought some coffee?
Yeah, I did. But it's my last pack, all right?
There's no better time than now. I haven't had it since Garos, and admittedly, I didn't really like it back then, but, I better drink it now or I may never get to again, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And Tuff will walk over to the table, pull out sort of a brewing kit maybe, and start brewing the coffee. But somebody's got to go find some more hay then and finish my job.
I'm on it.
Hey, Jules, with that new trident, how does that work? Do you just snap your fingers and it comes back? Do you just grunt really hard? How does it actually come back to you?
Well, the best I could describe it is like a connection with the trident itself. It's like yearning for a lost love, calling out to them and seeing them returned. And I'll put my hand on his shoulder and smirk and shake my head at him like, you get what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah.
Hey, Waltz, grab a few of those mugs, will ya?
Yeah, no problem. So, Jules, what was it like to be part of a pirate crew again for a brief time?
Just like putting on an old eye patch.
Right.
Killing it with the
No.
analogies people
Obviously.
won't understand. Oh, yeah. And you think of Hansel with his no eyes and his iPad. As you all chuckle about Jules's hard to understand analogy, the Drake Knights sent into the orchard key in on this barn as they hear some chatter and laughter. The orc captain looks to his subordinates, giving a silent gesture with his hands, telling them to fan out and approach the windows and doors of this barn as they creep towards it.
Hey, Waltz, hold those mugs still, all right? I'm going to pour it now.
All right.
I said still.
Hey, these are still. You're the one shaking.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And I reach into my forearm and turn it down a little gizmo. All right, there we go. That's steadier.
I love that.
What does that little dial do?
Well, let me tell you, Scyndor will know soon enough if you catch my drift.
I don't.
Okay. Well, just watch me during the battle.
All right. Yeah.
Boys, if I may, I'd like to make a toast.
Waltz will hand out
All
the
right.
mugs to everybody.
Jules will raise his mug to the center of the table. To those here,
The Drake Knights creep up to the barn, placing their backs against the wall, preparing to jump in through the windows, awaiting their captain's commands.
to those we've lost that still remain to ignite our courage.
The captain takes note of his Drake Knights, sees they're all in position as he listens in on the chatter of Digsby's crew. He grips his blade tightly, looks to all of his soldiers, and gives them a nod.
And to those onion-eyed miscreants who've got what's coming to them.
Here.
Boys, whatever happens next, it's truly been my life's greatest adventure. Cheers.
Cheers.
Your mugs clank as the Drake Knights barge into the doors, jump in through the windows, blades drawn. The captain steps in with a bloodthirsty look in his eyes that quickly turns to surprise as he sees, resting on the table in the center of the barn, a device simply playing a recording of your past conversations using the instant spy device Tuff took from the crate. The captain feels something beneath his foot, looks down, and sees a mine buried under some hay, looks to his soldiers and says, "It's a trap!" And then it explodes, and the entire barn is destroyed as Drake Knights are incinerated and thrown from the splintering rubble. And Scyndor looks down in surprise at the valley as Whisk, Glorm, Ira, Dan, all of the other soldiers from Karos, the Royal Drake Knights, bust out of the cellar. Ira says, "We need to keep them distracted so Digsby's crew can take care of Scyndor." And Whisk and Glorm says, "Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this for a long time. Are you ready, Glorm? Are you ready to kill? Oh yeah, let's do it." And they all start screaming as they charge into the valley. Scyndor looks to his soldiers and says,
Kill them all.
Leshies jump from the tree, gliding. The centipedes crawl into the valley. The Drake Knights sprint down the hill and meet Whisk, Glorm, the soldiers, Ira, and this epic battle ensues. Jules,
Yeah, Zach?
you peek around from behind the tree you've been observing Scyndor from and see him patiently standing there, looking down at this battle, almost as if he knows this is some sort of distraction, and the real reason he's here will soon reveal themselves as you just watch this ley line infused energy exhausting from the cracks in his body. You don't know what happened exactly, but it looks like he somehow managed to absorb some of it in the explosion that should have killed him, and can tell he's imbued with some sort of unnatural power, but it almost looks like it's even killing him in this very moment. What do you do?
I'll step out. How far away is he?
50 feet.
I'll just start walking towards him, and I'll say, "How does it feel to see everything you've so meticulously built over all this time crumble so quickly at the hands of a crew led by a humble old halfling?"
As you say that, he grunts and looks towards you, and you see the green energy within him flare for a moment as your words stir anger within him. And he looks at you and says,
By the time this day is over, no one will experience more loss than you. You may have killed my drakes, destroyed my Arcanor, but what I have built, what I have done, its effects will ripple through Caldora until its looming fate finally reveals itself.
then you can die here tonight, knowing that Digsby's crew will not rest until we've undone all the evil that you've inflicted on Keldora.
Be careful what you wish for, Azarketi. Dying at my hands might be more merciful than what will come if you defeat me here.
And Waltz, behind an adjacent tree, 30 feet away that you've crept up to, you see Jules confronting Scyndor. You're under dark clouds, an ominous green light that fills the sky, the only source of light. What do you do?
Walt's just finished up putting on his ablative plating onto his shield. He takes out that invisibility potion he got from Dax, pops the cork off, says, "Here goes nothing," and drinks it.
Can you all roll me initiative?
Dun, dun,
Here we go,
dun.
guys. Here we go. Are we ready?
No turning back.
Are we all doing perception initiative, or are we doing different styles?
Perception's good.
12. Wait, can I roll again?
No.
22.
Hey, me too.
Nice.
21.
And guess who gets to go first, guys?
No.
Scyndor clenches his fist, sort of looking at it as it starts to glow. And he says,
Well, it appears you are the bravest of Digsby's crew, or just the most eager to die.
and he lunges forward. His fist glows with this vibrant green energy as he dashes towards you, and he is going to punch Jules.
I duck.
Oh, dang it, he missed. Is that in the remaster? Just kidding. There's no
Yeah.
way we know the remaster rules. We don't even know the original rules. Does a 25 hit you, Jules?
Yes.
Oh, poopy.
There goes my Digsby.
What did he
health.
roll, like a 2?
Jules, what is your fortitude DC?
+8.
Jules, you quickly try and raise your trident, but as he dashed, exhausting some of his ley line energy, he moved way faster than you could have expected, and the fist hits you square in the chest and erupts with this sonic boom that fractures some of the trees nearby and sends you flying backwards. And you hit the ground and slide after flying backwards 10 feet, and he dealt 12 damage
Yeesh.
to you.
Here we go.
And he shakes his fist as the energy calms itself and he begins to walk towards you. Jules, as you're rolling around on your back and you look up into the clouds, thinking, what have you gotten yourself into? Hoping Digsby's crew follows the plan, and bursting out of the dark clouds, you see the expanded wings of Smith with Tuff on the front and Dax on the back, looking over his
Aw.
shoulder.
Jules has a huge smile.
Hey, bark for brains. Eat lead.
Oh, nice.
heck
That'll take us to Tuff.
Nice.
Tuff will whip out his dueling pistol, point it at Scyndor, and take fire.
Roll it up. His AC is like 10, so you should definitely hit.
You heard it here. It's official.
16.
You fire the shot, and Scyndor whips his head up, seeing Smith emerging from the clouds just in time to see you fire his shot, and he raises his hand and creates a brief shimmering force field as your bullet hits and is incinerated.
No, that's not what I meant by eat it. Use my second action to reload my firearm. Last action, I just want to command Smith. All right, buddy, just keep us within range of big old planty guy, okay?
Roll me a command and animal check with a +4 circumstance bonus.
Make sure this one's a little bit better than last time, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, last time you did this, you
little bit better.
Unlike you guys, I
you
don't dwell
really
on the
were
past.
being
Watch
lazy
this.
about it.
Nat 1.
Oh, God. Don't
All right, how do I
even
lie
joke.
my way out of this one? Just kidding. I got a 15.
All right.
Oh, wait, +4 circumstance, so 19.
Let's go.
Smith lets out a shriek, seeing his friends in need, and perfectly positions himself over Scyndor. And that'll take us to Dax.
All right. Dax is going to pull back his bow aimed at Scyndor and let loose an arrow.
Roll it up, bro.
Get him.
Not the best. That is a 16 as well.
You draw the bow back, release the arrow, it whizzes over Tuff's shoulder. Scyndor does the same thing, waving his hand, creating a temporary force field that again incinerates your arrow.
Dax, you're supposed to hit him.
I know. And Dax will, clenching his fist, it'll glow blue, and he will cast Ray of Frost at Scyndor, which has a range of 120 feet.
Nice.
Hey.
So I make a spell attack roll. First time I've ever done this. Let's see. Oh, so close. It'll hit, I think. 26.
That hits.
Yeah.
His AC is only 26, guys.
Takes normal damage. 2d4 plus 2. 2d4? That will be 7 damage.
Nice.
Let's go, baby. Get
Cold
started.
damage. And that is a 2-action cantrip, so I am done.
Tough will jerk his arm out of the way. Whoa, maybe give me a heads up next time you do something like that.
Sorry, Tough. I'm still getting used to this.
After incinerating your arrow, Scyndor cancels the shield, not expecting this ray of frost that you fire out, this icy blue beam that glows brilliantly in this dark environment, contrasting against the green, and his eyes grow wide as he also tries to channel another shield, but it splits through the shield he creates and strikes him in the chest, and you see frost and ice cake over his chest, and he lets out a grunt and exhausts some of the ley line energy, and it melts the ice off of him, and he grimaces. And that'll take us to Jules. As you climb to your feet, what do you do?
We're in a forest, right?
You're on like the edge of a tree line, so there's like some forest on one side of you, and then just openness.
Okay. Using the distraction of Tough and Dax, I'd like to try to hide
All right, you can roll
behind a
something.
tree or something. That is a 19.
So sort of stumbling, you jog over to the tree line, staying low as you see Scyndor distracted with these gunshots, these arrow strikes, this ray of frost, and you pin your back up against a tree.
While I'm behind the tree, I'd like to just observe him and see if maybe I can learn anything about him, weak points, or understand like what's happening to his body or anything like that.
Absolutely, yeah. Roll a perception check.
If there were like glowing red orbs that we could shoot at, that would be great.
That's yeah, right. That's a 19.
Nice.
Okay, Jules, as you're observing Scyndor channel these shields take damage, you notice the glow of the energy within him flares up when he uses an ability, but you can tell he's like careful to not overdo it, like when he put his shield away, even though there might have been another attack. Almost like the energy is like leaking from him in some way, and he needs to be smart about when he uses it, and
Okay.
his body is containing it in some way.
Fascinating. And that will end my turn.
And that'll take us to Waltz.
All right. How far away is Scyndor from me now, Zach?
30 feet.
So I'm invisible now, correct?
If you drank an invisibility potion, I would hope so.
I would hope so too, but
Enough of the sass sack.
Shut up, Ryan.
We're under high stress here.
I feel like Zach would be like, well, it was a dud, and he turns around and sees you, and then he kicks your ass.
It was a potion of belief invisibility. You think you're invisible.
You're only invisible to yourself.
And I believe it, so I think you're gaslighting me when you tell me I'm not invisible. Waltz will take out his sword, sprint 30 feet to Scyndor, and attack him in the back as he's occupied with Jules.
Perfect. He is flat-footed to you because you are hidden, so he will take a penalty to his AC. Roll it up.
Get wrecked, Scyndor.
Okay, so 16 plus 10, 26, baby.
Nice.
You always fall for that decoy trick, don't you?
Scyndor whips his head around, sees nothing, and then a sword strikes him, penetrating through one of the cracks in his wooden body, releasing some ley line energy as you stab into him. He grunts, "Ugh, what? Ugh," and you rip the sword out. Roll damage.
Ooh, hell yeah. So I got 10 damage.
You shimmer and reveal yourself to Scyndor after completing a hostile action against him, and he looks at you and says,
You eager to join your mother, are you?
and that'll take us to the armies battling down there. So, kind of wanted to simulate how this fight is going. I've created just a simple way I'm going to track this. It's a bit of a tug of war. So I'm going to roll a percentage die for the bad guys, and somebody, probably not Ryan, will roll it for the good guys
Hard
amongst
pass.
you.
We can take turns.
And I have a little tug of war thing set up. And if the enemy gets X amount of successes without you getting a success to counter it,
Sure.
certain NPCs to die
Oh,
no.
in this battle.
Hold on.
If
Hold
you
on. We
kill
didn't agree to
Glorm-
this. We didn't agree to this.
I
Hold
don't
up.
care.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
being mean for
Okay,
no
who
reason.
goes first?
You
Guys,
think they're
who
just gonna
goes
fight
first?
I
giant
will
centipedes,
quit.
leshies,
I will
lizards, and all this stuff and be totally fine?
And be fine.
first?
Yes,
Jules, you
read
go
my
first
mind.
because you're first in the editing. When I edit your vocal tracks, you're first. So you first.
Okay.
I'm gonna cry if I kill someone during my turn.
Oh no. 25.
That's a
No,
percentage.
that's bad. Wait.
The armies are clashing
I'm sorry, guys.
amongst Digsby's orchard. You hear Whisk and Glorm calling out, "Keep fighting! Yeah, don't give up! We gotta stay strong!" Ira's like, "Fall in line, stay in formation!" You see the soldiers are frightened by these monstrosities, the formidable soldiers they're up against. They're giving up ground as they start to get surrounded by the enemy forces. They're starting to lose. Now take us to Scyndor.
Oh no.
Scyndor looks over his shoulder, realizes he no longer knows where Jules is. Looks up, sees Smith, knowing there is 2 ranged enemies firing at him, and he has Waltz in front of him. Waltz, you can see him calculating in his head, and the energy within him starts to flare and glow, releasing out of his tracks once again. He raises his left hand, extending it all the way, opening his palm, and he fires a blast at a tree. Seems like a random strike, carelessly released, and it hits the trunk of the tree, splintering it, fracturing it, blowing the top off of this tree, and in its place you see green ethereal branches start to grow outward.
I don't like that.
Into the dark sky overhead, its branches disappearing into the dark clouds, and you see green energy pulse throughout the clouds.
Oh no.
That's not fair.
And that'll take us to Tough.
Tough, there's Waltz. Gotta get me to him.
Yeah, I'm on it. And first action I'll take then is getting within range of Waltz. I'd like to get 30 feet close to him. If I can configure Smith to be within 60 feet of Jules, 30 feet of Waltz, and as far away from Scyndor as possible, that would be the ideal scenario for me, Zach.
Okay, you don't exactly know where Jules is though, because he just went off hiding.
Oh, he's hiding?
Yeah, so you can get roughly where you think that would be. No problem. You just need to roll me a command and animal check.
I'm on it. Crap. That be a 4.
Oh my god.
Smith, avoid Scyndor, but get us a little closer to Waltz.
Smith chirps back at you, starts to fly, but as this tree meets the clouds, it flashes with lightning for a moment, scaring Smith as he veers away from this lightning, and he starts to fly off in the wrong direction as he evades the lightning strikes.
Hold on, Dax.
Oh.
What do you do with your second action?
Getting a little turbulence up here. Am I still within 60 feet of Scyndor?
Yes.
Let's take another crack at him. Hey, Scyndor, open wide for seconds, and I'll take another shot towards him. 20. Non-nat. Reveal his AC. Reveal his AC.
Tough. You aim your pistol, putting Scyndor in your sights, taking careful aim, and as you fire, another lightning strike throws Smith slightly off course, and you shoot, and it goes just over Scyndor's shoulder, even though he wasn't paying attention, didn't have his shield up, and it just whizzes by and strikes the ground. What do you do with your third action?
Tough, you sure you know how to use that thing?
The sun was in my eyes, all right?
Isn't it nighttime?
Yes.
Jules, is that you? You're supposed
No,
to be
this is
hiding.
Adam. Tough, this is Adam. You suck.
And I'm going to use my last action to just try to get back into better positioning like I was trying to do in the first place with Smith. So, same thing. Just try to get a
Animal
little
handling
closer to
check
Lex.
with a +4 circumstance bonus. Command and animal, whatever.
15.
Right, you calm Smith down, sort of petting at him for a moment. You know, animals, we get each other, that sort of thing. Smith, getting better bearings on this lightning, this new situation he is in, chirps, determined, and veers back into position, getting you closer to Waltz, and that'll take us to Dax.
Seeing how well that Ray of Frost worked last time, Dax is kind of just looking down at his hand a little bit. I guess let's try this again. And then he'll cast Ray of Frost again at Good old Scyndor. A non-natural 20.
Let's go.
All right. You reach your hand out again. Fire, ray of frost. Scyndor, thinking about last time when it penetrated his shield. You can tell he charges more ley line energy this time, sticks out both hands and makes a more formidable shield, and the ray just spreads out across this ethereal shield he created, dissipates, and he retracts the shield, gives you a grin.
Oh, come on.
I'll jerk my elbow out of the way again and throw my arms up and look at Dax like, what the heck?
Look, I don't know, man. And for my final action, I will lean forward a little bit and pat Smith on the side. It's all right, Smith. That light's not going to hurt you. You're all right. Doing the aid action for Tough for next time he tries to command an animal. Give him a little bit of help calming Smith down.
Nice.
Love it. That'll take us to Jules.
Jules will step out from behind the tree, and he'll throw his trident at Scyndor. Before he does so, he says, "What doesn't kill you disappoints me," and then throws the trident. And that is
What is it?
25.
Hey!
Get him.
Nice. You step out from behind the tree, say your line, lift the trident up over your head. Scyndor whips his head around right as you throw it, and he doesn't get a shield up in time, and it stabs directly into his chest.
For 4 damage.
Nice.
And then I'll call it back, but before it catches into my hand, I'll cast telekinetic projectile and send it right back at him.
Oh, so cool.
Nice.
The trident rips out of his chest. You see wood splinters fly everywhere. It gets halfway back to you, and you stick your hand out again and send it with new force behind it.
That is the
Roll your
coolest
attack
thing
roll.
in the
Awesome.
world.
What a combo.
Ooh, 26.
That hits.
Ooh,
Roll your damage.
Good work down there.
God, so to get a crit, we're going to have to roll like a 31.
That's 9 damage.
He stumbles as it ripped out of his chest. You can see he's taking a moment to regain himself, but as he looks up, he wasn't expecting you to send it back at him again, and it strikes him in the same spot. More splinters fly out. He stumbles backwards.
The trident will come back to me once again, and when I catch it, I do a little flip and give him a smirk, and that'll end my turn.
That's an awesome turn, dude. That'll take us to
Hell yeah.
Waltz.
Okay, so I want to, again, swing my sword at Scyndor to start.
Roll it up, dude.
16.
You go to swing your sword, raising it high above your head and bringing a downward strike. And just then, Scyndor whips his head around, sends out a burst of ley line energy that strikes your sword and throws it off course, and your sword strikes the dirt. What do you do with your second action?
Okay, so frustrated with what he's seeing Scyndor do to Dax's attacks, to Tuft's attacks, and now to mine. I'm gonna try and grapple him. And take him to the ground.
Whoa. All right.
Classic Waltz.
Can I use my hero point?
If you want.
I got a 17 there. Yeah, I'll use a hero point. Okay, 23.
You lift your sword out of the dirt, reach out your hand trying to grab onto him, and as you go to grab, he exhausts some energy out of one of the fractures in his body, and it singes your hand, and you are unable to grapple him.
Crap.
And Scyndor looks at you.
Eager to die, are we, Waltz?
What do you do with your third action?
Waltz will cast Everstand Stance then with his shield, gripping it with both hands.
You just drop your sword then?
Yeah. And then say, let's see what you got.
Famous last words.
And that'll take us to the army. Who wants to roll for the soldiers?
Let me just get mine out of the way.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Percentage dice. Traditional fashion. I'll start with the tiny number.
You got it.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead. You got it.
70.
Nice.
Not bad, not bad, not bad.
I was so nervous after I had the 0 on the little dice.
Let's see what happens, though. The armies continue to clash. You see Dan on the front lines
No.
with a shield and sword, just like the commander he now idolizes, clashing with a giant centipede. He swings at this centipede. It retracts. It goes to strike back at him. He raises the shield. It breaks his shield. He stumbles backwards and drops his sword, crawling on the ground. The centipede opens its mandibles, goes down to devour his face, and just as it's about to clamp its jaws, Glorm swings his sword around and clutches his head.
Glor,
Get up. What are you doing, Drake Knight? To your feet.
And he goes, yeah, sorry,
There'll be plenty of time to apologize later. But for now, kill them all. Yeah, do it.
Dude,
Kill them all,
Glorm.
Dan. Get up, Dan. Do it. Kill them.
Yes.
Glorm is the true leader of the Drake Knights.
Glorm.
He's the heir.
Glorm so much.
All right, we're now back in a neutral fight.
I hope Dan at some point becomes a worshiper of Waltz and Waltz becomes a deity.
It could happen, you know?
And that'll take us to the ethereal tree, which is now pulsing throughout the sky. Tough and Dax, as you're hovering in the air, you see the sky growing a brighter green, and lightning lashes out at Tough and absolutely hits Tough.
Oh, don't even bother asking my AC. I
Yeah,
guess.
I didn't bother.
What'd you roll?
100.
Like a 27.
No.
That's not even that good.
Yeah.
I don't even care, really.
And deals 9 electricity damage as it strikes him in the air. You see it running up his metal body. Dax, you rear back as the electricity is shocking all around you.
You all right, Tough?
Oh, God. Fine. I'm fine.
He's short-circuited.
Jules, you then see a ethereal branch coming down from one of these trees, and it extends and it is going to swing at you.
Oh my!
Jules, does an 18 hit you?
It does not.
Oh my goodness. So you see this ethereal branch coming at you. Notice it just in time, sliding on your knees, doing a Matrix-like leaning backwards as it scrapes over your head and wraps back around, and you stand back to your feet.
That was too close.
And Waltz, you see the sky glow green as well, and it is also going to fire electricity at you.
It can try.
And it fires downwards. You notice just in time, put the shield above your head, and it strikes your shield, and electrical sparks fly off of it in all directions.
You're gonna have to try harder than that.
And that'll take us to Scyndor. As you lower the shield back down, you see him staring directly at you with his fist charging.
You can cower behind that all you want, Waltz. It won't do you any good.
Waltz, does a 20 hit you?
Nope.
Oh,
Heck yeah.
you brace behind your shield. It impacts, sending out a sonic boom in all directions. You dig your heel in, sliding subtly, but all damage is dissipated. Lower your shield slightly and see his face with hatred burning in his yellow eyes. And you see him grow frustrated as all of the energy pulses within him, and he lets out a mighty yell. And energy exhausts out of his body. Lightning fractures into the sky as he casts fear.
Okay. Interesting.
Waltz and Jules, since you are within 30 feet of Scyndor, having a front row seat to this frightening, menacing display, revealing this incredible power that you guys must defeat. And even after all your efforts, he seems very alive and well. Can you roll me a will save?
I will.
Ha!
I also will.
22.
Ooh. 10.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Oh no.
Waltz, you fail this check and become frightened 2. Jules,
Oh,
you
no.
critically
Oh, no.
failed this check and become
Oh.
frightened 3.
No way.
Waltz, beyond this physical display he's done, you can feel the magic radiating from what he's doing fill your body. You feel your muscles grow weak. You doubt your abilities. You wonder who will die in this battle, as you have done your best to keep everyone alive but have encountered nothing but heartache along the way. Jules, you feel this same emotion stirring within you, and as this magic warps your mind, you feel this compulsion overtake you, something you cannot control that's just repelling you away from this fight, as if you staying here is guaranteed death, guaranteed failure, and there's nothing you can do about it but run, and the magic overtakes you as you find yourself running from Scyndor.
No, no.
So you will be fleeing for 1 round, and you are in Frightened 3, and Waltz, you're in Frightened 2. Let me just read how that works real quick. You're gripped by fear and struggle to control your nerves. The frightened condition always includes a value. You take a status penalty equal to this value to all your checks in DCs. So that's anytime you roll a D20, you're going to take your frightened condition as a penalty. All your DCs, that includes your AC, is reduced by your frightened condition. And at the end of each of your turns, your frightened value reduces by 1.
Interesting. Waltz will try and stand his ground, but gulp out of fear.
And that'll take us to Tough.
Dax, we better start making a difference in here, otherwise it's going to be pretty embarrassing after this battle.
I'm with you. Get us in there.
Hang on a second. I think I can reroute this. And Tough will reach into his forearm compartment, turn a little gizmo gadget, reroute the electricity that was just sent through his body, and he's going to go into overdrive. What? Which is an inventor skill. I do have to roll for it, so... Oh, I got a 28.
Nice. That's a critical success.
Yeah, it is, baby. I imagine the power of this ethereal tree zapping me, allowed my overdrive to go into extra burnout mode or something.
You rerouted it. That's awesome.
So after I turn these gizmos within my forearm, you can just kind of see this energy sort of build up within my abdomen where my core is held, and then that energy spreads throughout the rest of my body.
You okay, Tough?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling good. And with that, for a minute, so I might actually have to keep track depending on how long this battle goes for.
10 rounds.
Because I did a critical success, my strikes deal an additional damage equal to my intelligence modifier.
Heck yeah. Sick, dude.
And then after I say that, I spin my gun and throw another round in really quick. Last action, I turn to Dax. Dax, what do you say we get you in there?
Let's go.
So, Zach, what I want to do is I kind of want to do a flyby and see if I can get Smith to maybe get within 20 feet of Scyndor as we fly over him.
Yes, you can put Smith within 20 feet if you do a command and animal check.
I can do that, I think. I hope. 22.
Yes.
Sick. That's a success.
All right, Smith, we're getting Dax right over Scyndor. Get close, but not too close. You hear me?
Smith snorts with determination, swoops down, hovers 20 feet over Scyndor, and that'll take us to Dax.
All right. As we get closer to Waltz and Scyndor, Dax is going to reach into his bag for that scroll, that enlarged scroll that we got from the supply crate, and he is going to cast said spell on Waltz.
All right.
It lasts for 5 minutes.
What spell is this?
This is enlarge. The target grows to size large. Its equipment grows with it and returns natural size if removed. The creature is clumsy 1. Its reach increases by 5 feet, and it gains a +2 status bonus to melee damage.
That's awesome. Dax, you pull out the scroll. As you look upon it, the words scribbled upon this scroll with the commands on how to use the spell begin to glow. Your eyes glow as well, giving you an understanding of how to cast this spell. And as you speak the words, you see Waltz growing taller as his muscles bulge, his equipment grows with him as well. He begins to tower over Scyndor himself.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
What?
All right, Dax, it's a 2-action spell. What do you do with your 1 remaining action?
Dax is going to kind of clap his hand on the back of Tough's shoulder. Thanks for the ride, buddy. Hike a leg over and leap off of Smith down onto Scyndor.
Nice.
Dax, you jump off of Smith, falling through the air onto Scyndor and land behind him. So that's a fall of 20 feet, but you have catfall, right? So we're going to treat that as 10 feet, which means you're going to take bludgeoning damage equal to half the distance that you fell. So as you thud on the ground, you take 5 bludgeoning damage as you superhero land behind Scyndor. He looks over his shoulder.
The one who destroyed my Arcanor.
Darn right.
And you're next.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that'll take us to Jules. Jules, because of Scyndor's fear spell, you are forced to flee for this entire round, so you must use each of your actions trying to escape the source of your fear. So you must use all of your move actions to run as far from Scyndor as you can, as you're hallucinating, envisioning nothing but death around you, feeling like you have to get as far away from this situation as you can as this magic warps your mind.
No one else. There can't be anyone else. No one else can die.
And that'll take us to Waltz, who has now grown in stature, has just seen Dax aid him, flanking Scyndor on the opposite side. You're feeling invigorated with power. What do?
How much bigger am I than him now?
I'd say you're about 3 feet taller than him.
Okay, so I guess I'll just, since I'm in Everstand stance, I will use Everstand Strike. Do a little shield bash.
Roll it up.
17.
You go to bash your shield. That is now larger as well. Scyndor sticks his hand out, the branches of his fingers growing in size, giving him a wide grip that absorbs your shield, and he pushes it back at you, smirking.
Waltz will think back to his previous fight against Boric, his last formidable foe, and how he needed to use his sword. So he'll try and find it on the ground and pick it up.
You look down, you see your sword, you kind of hook your foot under it, kick it up in the air, and grab it with your other hand. What do you do with your last action?
I'll raise my shield back up for my last action.
All right, you go into a formidable battle stance, sword at your side, shield raised, and that'll take us to the army. Who wants to roll for the army?
Oh no.
I'll do it.
Joel's turn.
Let's go, Joel.
Come on, Joel.
All right.
Let's get it.
I got my big dice tower that I don't use anymore because it's too loud, but I'm going to do it for this one because it's important.
Ow, my ears.
81.
Woo!
Let's go.
Nice.
As Whisk and Glorm revel in this opportunity to kill with bloodlust in their eyes, they start slicing through Drake Knights.
Yes, take that. Oh man, killing is awesome, Glorm. I know, it's so cool.
Dan is like, oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like stabbing guys. Ira's yelling out commands to the soldiers from Karos. Stand steady, keep fighting. And they're nodding at her. And as they begin to charge, a swarm of these giant lizards start to dogpile onto many of the soldiers from Karos. They start to get slightly overrun. I rolled an 87. Suck it.
No! Come on, no way.
And that'll take us to the tree, which is again pulsing in the sky and fires a bolt out at Scyndor. And it strikes Scyndor in the back and charges him with some leyline energy and restores some of his hit points.
What the heck?
Oh, crap.
As he gets reinvigorated with power, looking up into the sky, exhaling green leyline energy out of his nostrils. And he looks at Waltz, who is now towering over him, and says,
If it's a showdown you want, it's a showdown you'll get.
And he punches his fist into the ground as you see a splinter of green energy that fractures outwards and then starts to carve a circle in the ground around him and Waltz, which Dax is also standing on, and the ground begins to tremble, and a pillar of earth emerges from the ground and sends you skyward
Whoa.
on
That's
a
not good.
15 by 15 foot platform that is now 50 feet in the air. And that is where we'll end.
Okay, let's go to downtime right now.
Session.
I wanna go- keep playing. I wanna keep playing.
That is nuts. Okay, yeah. Everybody shut up because we're gonna go to the
tell us
downtime.
to shut up already.
Yeah, everyone shut up.
you
Yeah,
shut
I
up,
think we're all on the
Zach.
same page. I
No,
think we
you
all want to shut
shut
up
up.
because we all want to talk
Everybody
about it.
shut You know what? I'm tired of you. What is this?
Yeah,
20, 30
we're standing up
plus
against
episodes?
tyrants, just like
Okay, you telling us to
guys,
shut up?
Guys, but remember, there's a new thing we're gonna do in these send-offs. Remember, we talked about this, okay? You know, normally I thank all you guys and tell you, great job with all your work and stuff like that, and I still
Yeah.
want to do that,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna do that in a
wait,
new way
okay.
now. And I just want our
Okay.
audience to know that we really appreciate all the ratings, reviews, and comments. And it's what really invigorates us, gets us motivated, makes us want to keep going, because like we have a ton of fun doing this, but it's a lot of work. And when we read these things, it's just that little boost of motivation we need. And just to say thank you to you guys, every episode we want to take a moment to read, a couple comments that we found on YouTube, Reddit, just reviews we found on the various podcast platforms, just to say thank you and let you know that we see them and they mean a lot to us. And then also just as a way to thank the crew and get us all motivated. So I'm not necessarily picking ones that I think are better than other ones. I'm sort of picking them at random, and we're just going to read a couple of them. So, if you're out there reading comments, writing reviews, you might hear them read on here, and just, we really appreciate it. So the first one I'm going to read, and also I don't know if people want me to like say their usernames, so I'm just going to always botch their usernames. I decided. Okay. So this guy's name is Gary the Happy Man. And
totally botched.
Apparently, I decided. And he wrote us an awesome review on Apple Podcasts. By the way, I love that all the podcast platforms where you can write reviews. Like, I love reading these, so thank you guys so much. And he wrote, Mortals and Portals is the holy grail of TTRPG podcasts with a wildly talented group of friends who play like you're sitting in at their Friday night session. Wow. The characters are deep, each feel alive and unique. The cast are so invested in the story and so good at yes and each other that in only a handful of episodes, you feel like you've been along for the ride for years. These guys are bound by the rules. They see the rules as a framework to build a story, and my goodness, can they build. I could go on and on about the world building, the flow of the story, or quality of the production, but I don't want to spoil anything. Listen to the first few episodes, and if you aren't hooked, then maybe TTRPG podcasts just aren't for you, because this is the epitome of well done. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Gary, the Happy Man.
Thank you.
Silly Gary. We play on Wednesdays,
When
not
we see these
Fridays.
reviews, we screenshot them and send them to each other like, dude, isn't this just like the coolest thing ever? So yeah, like seriously,
That's amazing.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And another thing we do is like sometimes we'll do like a term search on like Reddit or Facebook just to see if anyone's like talking about the show or if we need to clarify anything and swoop in and because sometimes they'll be like, these guys don't know the rules. And then I got to be like, hey, we're like working on it. We get better. So, like, please give us a break. We're busy. Anyway.
Be nice.
And the other day I was doing it and I stumbled on one by a guy named, again, butchering the names on purpose. His name is White Fence. Flangel. White Flangel. That's what I came up with. I thought I'd be better at like improvising a made up name that's like different from the real name. Yeah, his name's White Flangel. Good, cool name. Yeah, and there was a Reddit post where apparently they post like links to other TTRPG podcasts, and like we weren't on this, so this guy jumped on and he said, "Hey, Mortals and Portals took a break from their main campaign last week to play an Origin episode for one of the PCs. I'm not sure how big a podcast needs to be added to this list, or if they have to play adventure paths, since this is a homebrew world." And the guy read that comment and said, "Oh yeah, homebrews are great. I'll add them to the list. Thank you so much." So thank you, White Flangel, for going out there advocating for Mortals and Portals, making sure we're on this list, dude. Like that is so
and
cool.
We
really
all
appreciate
know
that stuff.
who you're talking about. So shout out to the Discord.
Yeah, shout out to this
He
guy.
knows
This
who
guy's
it is,
awesome.
too.
I don't know if he wants
Flangel.
us to dox him. I know we dox me every episode, but yeah, I don't want to dox you guys. But seriously,
Come on,
like
Zach Ernesti.
He lives at 4321 Bluegrass Tallgrass Lane.
whenever there's a post out there and someone's like, hey, what actual place should I listen to? And you guys go out there and you're like, listen to this show, like blah, blah, blah. And there's all the reasons why. That's what makes the show grow. So thank you guys. So we're just want to do this every episode and, let you know we see that stuff. So we appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, mortals.
Give us a Webby already.
I'm so glad I understand what's happening now.
Yeah, right? Ryan's like, this makes no sense. I was waiting for like
there's
when
the
I flip
blooper.
it and when I finally described like what happens, I was gonna be like, do you understand now, Ryan? I just don't think people will get it.
Watch me still not.